Shari, we know from industry research that many people don't take up early action and seek help for mental health issues. What barriers do people experience when considering seeking help?
Most people, irrespective of whether in the legal profession or not, have some level of negative self-talk about that, as in they believe that there's something wrong with them if they have to go and see somebody for some support. In the law particularly, there's a much greater level of that. There seems to be a really strong sense that it's not at all, that you have to be invulnerable, that it's really important to maintain an aura of professionalism and that you can't admit that there's something going on there. A lot of people are concerned what other people might think about them, and in the law particularly there's that fear of stigmatisation from your colleagues or your peers or your clients if they were to find out that you were seeing someone professionally for some assistance. And finally, a lot of people just simply don't know where to go to get help. So while they may get the sense that something's wrong, that perhaps it would be helpful to go and get some additional support, they're just not sure of the supports that are out there for them. So being aware of what you can access and how to go about that should you need it is crucial.
We also know from research that lawyers are often least likely to actually seek professional help. Is there anything about lawyers specifically?
I think it's down to a whole lots of different factors that come into play there. One would be that the sense that if someone finds out, then it may affect their career adversely. So that sense of stigmatisation within the profession. So even though it's quite talked about within the law now that mental health is an issue and that law firms and law societies are doing things to address that, there still is that sense that there'll be something wrong with me or that it may impact on my career if it gets known that I'm not coping as well as I can, or if I'm seeing someone professionally. So rather than seeing it as a proactive strategy, it's seen as something that needs to be done reactively. Lawyers particularly have a high level of professionalism and often need to present to their clients that they're coping very well with everything. And so there's a bit of a sense of it'll be right, this will pass and it will get better there. So often avoiding the signs until it becomes much more serious than it needs to be is an issue. It's also well known that lawyers score very highly in the trait of scepticism. And this is pretty important for the legal profession because you need to be critically analysing and looking at a whole lot of information and drawing very sound and solid conclusions from that, and then writing advice based on that, taking into a whole range of different arguments. The difficulty though is that if you're too sceptical of whether someone can help you or not, you're not going to seek help because of doubt as to whether it will be effective. Lack of time is also another issue. There's often quite tight deadlines and people are working very, very hard in the legal profession. So there's a sense that I can't afford the time to go and get some help, rather than realising that spending an hour may actually save you lots of time down the track. And it's helpful to learn strategies to be able to manage more efficiently and more effectively than to be engaging in behaviours that are time wasting and that look quite bad for you. And again, that uncertainty about where to get help and what type of help would be appropriate. So it's important if you're looking for some help and if you're going to see someone professionally that you trust them and that you feel they have an understanding of your unique pressures in your work environment and how they can actually assist you with that.
From the point that I was absolutely convinced that I had an illness, I took medication for the first time in a life that was determined never to allow it to touch my lips. And the moment that it happened, I was transferred back to the happy boy of my teens. So sometimes you need a little bit of help to get you through a difficult time, so that more than anything you can start to think rationally as to what had happened to you, why it happened to you, and how it is that you can pick the signs a lot more clearly than you may have done previously, where the stigmas of weakness, of being a sook, of being lazy, not having due regard to the concerns of others, those sorts of things are put back into a more accurate perspective.